People think that GMOs are sci-fi, they're going to kill you. Like with every other invention, you have to go through this like certain period of time where it's not accepted in like general minds. And the first commercially like widespread genetically modified plant was actually done in USA back in the day. The name was like Flavor Saver. But there is something which I think people of my culture have in them, and I would say it even comes from like back in the Soviet times, and it's a little morning workout with me.
So you have like abs?
No.
So if you were to have 100 volunteers for a day in Istanbul, what course would you pursue?
Wow. I would say the biggest issue in Istanbul is actually trash. I would say that for a general consumer, what would be nice to know is that this bag of chips was made out of a potato which had BT toxins in it.
Okay.
Which does sound scary.
Yeah, it does sound scary. I mean, people believe that if you eat a genetically modified crop, it can modify your gene as well.
If it worked this way, we wouldn't be living this life. Let me just say that. Like, what is it worth if you let your emotions out right now, break the mood in the team, and then lose the next point while you can keep it down, control yourself, work for the team, and win?
I know countries like Algeria, Russia, Venezuela,
yes,
they've put an outright ban to GMOs. In Europe, like France, Greece, I mean, they've put a ban that you cannot home grow it on their soil.
Yes.
And even in Turkey doesn't even allow GMOs.
It does not allow the research as well. Yeah, it's very, very prohibitive.
So, which is, if it's actually a good thing, right? Like I've come to understand.
Yes.
So why this ban? What exactly is the problem? So
I feel like that, right?
Yep.
I hope it sounds good.
All right. So welcome.
Thank you.
All right, welcome to this episode of the A Random Chidi Meets. I mean, if you're new to this podcast, this is where I get to ask questions to experts in different fields on the popular questions that you have on your mind, and then they get to share their answers with us, and we learn every episode, right? And today on the podcast, I have a GMO enthusiast, so genetically modified organisms, but she's more of an enthusiast for genetically modified plants, right? She's Veronika.
Yes,
right?
yes. Thank you for hosting me.
Yeah.
I'm Veronika, and it's my third year here in Istanbul. I'm studying in Sabanci University on the program of molecular biology, genetics, and bioengineering in Sabanci University. And I would not call myself exactly a GMO enthusiast, because that sounds like I'm a fan of GMOs.
Okay.
While I'm actually not a fan, but a person who is passionate about working on them and working with them. First of all, I want to say that I'm like not an expert yet. I would love to be, to have all of these fancy degrees, but I'm not an expert yet. So whatever I will be sharing today will be my personal point of view, gathered from the amount of info and from the knowledge I managed to access up until now.
Interesting. So you mentioned you've been in Turkey for like 3 years now.
Yes.
So how's the experience been like?
Well, it's sweet. It's smooth, I would say. No big issues. My campus is a bit far from the city. That's the only issue, but I'm loving it here. I love the weather. It's very chill all the time in terms of like, it's comfortable. I don't feel too hot. I don't feel too cold.
So I think coming from a climate like in Russia. Yeah, so Istanbul is like the perfect place for you.
Yes.
What's your perfect Saturday like in Istanbul?
Oh, perfect Saturday in Istanbul. That's a good question because it really depends whether I have exams coming or not.
Okay.
So I'm going to be talking about the perfect Saturday where I don't have exams coming up. I would probably go into the city, but stay on the Asian side. So I would probably go to Badar Caddesi, this area on the Asian side, have a nice breakfast with the sea view. And then throughout like the day, I would walk around, probably go to some stores, shop for a bit, and then go to Kadıköy area, to Moda, to hang out with my friends. Yeah, I would say my perfect Saturday should also include friends here.
Friends.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing you have a lot of friends in Istanbul then.
Well, I wouldn't call that a lot.
Okay.
All of them are great. So I feel like here quality is better than quantity.
Interesting take there. So what was it like, studying in Istanbul compared to Russia? I mean, you studied in Russia for, I think, your high school?
Yeah, I finished my high school in Moscow and then I came here. And of course, the systems are different, but it's not that I'm having issues here. I would say a person coming from a Turkish educational system to Russian one would experience more issues than me right now. The approach to studying, especially in my university, I cannot speak for all of the universities because mine differs a lot from the rest of them. But I'm feeling quite comfortable in terms of how the evaluations are coming, the exams. They're a bit spread throughout the semester, so at some point you have exams almost every week. But the way how it's structured, I'm content with it.
So, like, what's one underrated habit that you have that you think most students don't have, and how does that make your day better, or your study better?
I would not say that the habit I have will work for everyone because every person is different, but there is something which I think people of my culture have in them, and I would say even comes from like back in the Soviet times. And it's a little morning workout we do. Like, you're not doing heavy weights, you're not doing any like heavy exercises, but you're doing a bit of stretching, a bit of like push-ups, sit-ups, just to get your body going. And I would say I have this little habit. Every morning I have my like little mat in my dorm room. So I take it out 10 minutes to get yourself energized, and then I'm ready to go on with the day.
Every morning?
Yeah, but it's like a 10-minute deal, so it's almost nothing.
So what does it comprise of? Like, you do push-ups, sit-ups?
You stretch first, push-ups, sit-ups, a bit abs, that's it.
So you have like abs?
No. I mean, I have something.
Six packs.
I'm very far from a six-pack, and I would say the Turkish cuisine is making me go even further away from there, yeah.
So you have too much kebabs?
Everything, I would say. Simits, kebabs, everything.
Okay, so I mean, I think the obvious question like about this podcast is so why GMOs? Why genetically modified organisms? Why are you interested in that?
It's a bit complicated to answer that question exactly, because at some point throughout my high school experience, I just found myself being like, oh, I should probably do bio. That sounds so interesting. And then I was going to some like summer schools, so on and so forth. And then once I managed to get access to, I won a ticket to a monthly like educational program in a very good educational/research center in Russia, which was like agrobiotechnology and plant genetics. And for 1 month, I was like studying the theory first, then I went on to like laboratory practice, then we made a project. And after that, I was like, that's actually so interesting. And that's such a nice way to have, to improve certain aspects of a human's life. And I was like, oh, I should probably like try studying in this area to see if I can do something good. Because I feel like for me, the reason why I chose biology in the beginning was to not get a Nobel Prize or something like this.
You could.
That's nice. If it happens, I'm going to be happy, of course, but I'm not looking for that directly.
Okay.
I just want to do something which would make the life of the humanities better, even for a short period of time. You know, like how some methods, some technologies, they go out of style quite fast, but for that certain period of time, it like people benefited from it. So that's what I want to do. And the reason why I want to do this through biology is simply because I found it cool. Like, it's a fancy thing to do. It's interesting. People don't talk about it that much, but it's actually a very, very fascinating science. So yeah, that's as simple as that.
So if, let's say, for example, you were out shopping with your grandma.
Yep.
And you told her, oh, Ma, I'm studying about, I'm interested in GMOs, right? How do you explain GMOs to a grandma?
That's a tough question, because I would feel sometimes it's not easy to explain anything to your grandma.
Yeah.
I would probably say that GMOs, like if you're talking about plants, not animals, because that's more of my area of like...
Yeah, you specialize in the plants aspect of GM.
I would say that these are plants whose genes were edited in a certain way to have better traits, like better shelf life, better taste, better like price maybe. There is like, instead of spending years on selecting better plants, some people in the lab just edited the genes and then you have it.
So, one thing I've heard people say about GMOs and the perception, right, is that each time people hear about GMOs, it comes across as this sci-fi thing, like there's something going on. So, so if you had to explain GMOs to an everyday person, like, what would you say exactly changes in a plant?
Oh, in order to explain what exactly changes in a plant, you have to have this, at least the tiny biological background, like molecular biological background, because GMOs are genetically modified organisms. So you have to have this basic understanding of how genetics work, what genetics are, and what's a DNA molecule in the beginning. And from there, you can just say that now with our tools, we have access to directly changing the DNAs in certain plants and in certain cells. And because we are that far in the scientific understanding of what genes are and how they work, we have this access to looking at the sequences of certain genes.
Okay.
And if, for example, we know that this gene codes for that, we can either shut it, literally physically shut the gene, so it's not expressed in the organism, and it does not have effects on the organism, or we can add a gene. But of course, adding is a bit harder than just shutting it directly.
Down. What would you say is the difference between crossbreeding of plants and GMO?
Well, that's actually the biggest reason, I'm going to give you the biggest reason why people are investing in GMOs that much, and it's time. In 2025, I would say that time is the answer to everything. Time is precious, time is running out, time is speeding up. I feel like if you're exposed to a certain amount of Instagram content or any media content today, you have stumbled upon this video saying that, time is actually speeding up. We don't have 24 hours a day anymore, and so on and so forth. And well, that's kind of how it is these days in terms of life being much faster than it was before. And the main advantage of genetically modifying plants over the traditional breeding is simply the time you spend while doing it. If previously, in order to cross two plants, for example, one of them is has a very nice color but a bad taste, let's put it in very simple terms, and the other one has an appealing color but a very good taste, you would have to cross them, and then out of 1,000 of seeds you got, choose the ones that have both of the traits you want, and then also both of these traits are dominant in this plant. So if you cross it again, it's not going to give you the recessive traits again and set you back. You would have to spend a lot of time on it, a minimum of 10 years. And that's a minimum, because you're constantly selecting. And for example, if it's a very if it's a trait that comes very late in the life cycle of a plant, such as a taste, up until you have the fruits, you will not be able to understand it, that you got it or not, whether you have this gene or not. But these days, because we have access to sequencing, because we have access to gene editing, we can actually speed it up. Even if we're not talking about gene editing directly, even if we don't need to edit the genes, if we have two plants, we can read their genomic information and actually understand whether this one will have this gene which codes for a certain color, and this one has a trait that codes for a certain flavor profile. Of course, it's much more complicated than that in real life, but the main advantage is time. You can speed it up instead of waiting for the plant to grow, for them to for the pollination, for the fertilization. Instead of waiting for all of these steps, you have it in your hand, and you can have the genome of a plant in your computer quite easily. So you just speed the process up.
Are there examples of plants today that have been genetically modified that people don't know about?
I mean, obviously there have been.
Okay.
I would say a lot of the GMO, the genetically modified plants, which are actually grown, have this certain gene which calls for the BT. It's a gene that comes, which technically encodes for insect resistance to certain species of insects.
Okay.
And a lot of crops are grown already together with this gene. So they have innate, technically, insect resistance. Instead of applying a lot of insecticides on top of the plants, you have them inside of the
So
plants.
they're edited into their genes so that they grow resistant.
This toxin inside of them, which is lethal to only certain types of insects. Not even to all of the insects, but to certain types of them. And also, of course, there are like the consumables, such as like, I don't know, apples, tomatoes, which have been previously gene edited. And the first commercially like widespread genetically modified plant was actually done in USA back in the day. The name was like Flavor Saver. It was a tomato plant, which was supposed to have better shelf life. Yet, because of the like legal restrictions, the fact that it was not giving very like extremely consistent results, it just kind of went down because the company had issues with financing. As far as I remember the story,
okay.
They just like, it was not offering a better alternative in terms of price.
Oh, okay.
Despite having a better shelf life. So it did not work out.
Okay. Which brings me to the question, like you said here, like basically you're trying to make the plants, some plants more resistant to environmental factors, right?
Yes.
So why is it that I know countries like Algeria, Russia, Venezuela,
yes,
they've put an outright ban to GMOs. In Europe, like France, Greece, I mean, they've put a ban that you cannot home grow it on their soil.
Yes.
And even in Turkey doesn't even allow GMOs.
It does not allow the research as well. Yeah, it's very, very prohibitive.
So, which is, if it's actually a good thing, right? Like I've come to understand.
Yes.
So why this ban? What exactly is the problem?
I mean, most of the governments are driven by the idea of ban it now, allow it later, because there is not enough information in terms of whether it's actually beneficial or not.
Okay.
But sadly, if you ban it now, very little percentage of these countries come to the stage of allowing it later. And then this way, you are not going to gather this information, whether they are beneficial or harmful. And I just want to say right here that when we are talking about GMOs, we are not talking about something that's beneficial in terms of, like, for example, human consumption or harmful to people. When we are talking about GMOs, we are talking about an alternative which is supposed to have the same effect on the human health most of the times, because like they go through all of these stages. And what has to be the correct question here is whether it's harmful or not. And like, I personally cannot imagine a way how like people who are working on like making a plant taster could make any harm to you, because that's not exactly how it works. If they see that like the plant has something wrong with it at the early stages of like testing it, it will never reach your shelves.
Okay.
You are offered an alternative all the time. And the reason why people are banning it is because if it's not making our lives directly better, why allow it? And there is also this like ethical concern going all over the world, as you have mentioned it, that people think that GMOs are sci-fi, they're going to kill you, and so on and so forth. Like, you cannot escape it anyhow. And like with every other invention, you have to go through this like certain period of time where it's not accepted in like general minds. It's as simple as that, I would say.
So I mean, I would want to believe that these governments would have like a whole lot of research resources that they can actually find out these things for themselves before just outrightly just banning them. Let me give an example, right?
Yes.
So I know in Nigeria, so the Gates Foundation has been trying to like push the GMOs thing in Nigeria, and a lot of farmers have kicked against it. They're fighting against it, and in a way, when I read news reports about it, it's more like a money-making scheme in a way, because it's like it's like the Gates Foundation, like they want to sell seeds.
We are talking about the Bill Gates Foundation,
Yes,
right?
the Bill Gates, the genetically modified seeds to these
Yes.
farmers. So the farmers are not going to be buying the seeds from the company to grow their own crops. So perhaps that could be another reason why maybe governments are banning it. Maybe they're seeing it as a way of exploiting the country.
But you have actually picked up a very interesting case on Nigeria, because as far as I know, from my level of knowledge, the GMOs are actually actively grown in Nigeria,
Okay.
as a matter of fact, and it's one of the countries where they're taking up a huge percentage of the agricultural sector due to better resistance to the environmental conditions. Nigeria has a lot of very challenging. The climate is challenging for
Certain
plants.
crops, yeah.
Yes, and certain crops which are resistant to drought have been very actively promoted in it, and that's why, of course, farmers have opposed to it, which makes a lot of sense. That's also one of the reasons why countries don't want to accept GM plants directly, because support the local production. They think it will have a worse effect on the economic. Well, it's not always like that, unless unless you try it. I don't think you will ever know it.
Because doesn't that come across like you're monopolizing the food production process? Like, for example, if as a farmer, usually I grow my crops, I find a way of growing my crops. Yes, maybe it may not be resistant to certain things, but I found a way of dealing with that over time as a farmer. And now some person just comes from the foundation and says, I want to start selling me seeds that I get for free on my own. I have to start buying it to plant.
Well, I would say that if farmers have managed to find a solution over time, I don't think there would stand the question of GM plants. Yet it's not that there is a solution to drought or insects other than insecticides.
Insecticides, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, insecticide. They use insecticides.
But they have a lot of insecticides have a harmful impact on the environment. And currently the world has this eco-friendly policy, and which is obviously correct, because people should be mindful about the usage of the resources. Yet sometimes they see GMOs as an opposite side of the being eco-friendly, because you're not again supporting the local production and so on and so forth. But the same farmers who can get these seeds for free are losing a lot of their produce due to these environmental factors. So you just have to compare it, whether buying the seeds is going to be more costly than losing half, for example,
of your production.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it comes, of course, it's a certain trade-off. And I would say for those who have been living like this for 30 years, an innovation is why would I do that? Why would I spend time? Why would I spend my effort to change it? Because I have already accustomed to it, and I accept 50% loss of my share every year, and there is also nothing you can do about it. But if your government takes this stance, that's it.
Okay, so can someone spot the difference between an organic plant and a genetically modified plant? Is it physically? Can you physically spot the difference?
If the trait is not apparent for the human's eye, of course not.
Okay.
How would you spot it? For example, if let's say that the plant is insect resistant, other than seeing it on the field where a plant is completely eaten by insects and the other one is not,
you can tell the difference.
At this point you can guess that probably this one is insect resistant, but how resistant?
Why is it?
Why? You will not be able to understand it. This part is completely hidden from a human's eye, and again, it can only be understood via the sequencing.
So once it gets to the shelves in stores, you can never tell the difference. You can really tell the
Yes,
difference.
and I don't think that's correct as well, because like there is no such case right now, I would say, and like all of the GMOs have to be labeled because people have to know what they're getting.
Okay,
If
I was going to ask that as well. Yeah.
no, that I believe that the labels have to be imposed on it, and I believe that the labels is actually something that could promote GMOs a bit further, because if there exists this transparency between production and consumers, and there will be upcoming cases of like GMOs being the same, people will stop looking at it as a as something completely foreign to them, as something that's like alien to them. Like I believe there should exist this transparency, and it will help in terms of promoting.
You know, now you've mentioned that about having labels. I mean, I speak to my friends in Canada and the US.
Yes.
I think that those are some places that have really huge amount of GMOs.
Yes.
And the way they speak about GMOs, they'll be like, "Oh my God, you're from Nigeria, right? In Africa, I would love to go to Africa to eat something more natural. You know, over here in Canada and the US, we have these huge carrots, very huge carrots. We have these huge tomatoes and pepper, and you know, they're all genetically modified. Like, I just want to go to Africa and have something more natural." So, like, have you ever heard something that's really controversial? You're like,
of course, I have heard it, and that's also an approach.
Mm-hmm.
And you cannot change someone's opinion like on this part.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to have something which they believe is natural, they can have it. But when we're talking about GMOs, we're not talking about a benefit of a certain person who wants to have something more natural. We are talking about a possible solution to the world hunger problem.
Mm.
So if you're not content with having huge carrots in Canada, no one can change your mind, I guess.
Okay.
But GMOs are not something that is done to satisfy one's needs.
Okay.
It's a more general approach and a more general solution.
So what would you say to the comment of something natural? Is this something to be classified as natural and not natural when we're talking about GMOs?
Well, that's still really hard to answer for me personally, because when we are talking about something natural and unnatural, when the insecticides appeared and they began to be widely used, people were like, "Oh, this one is packed with insecticides, and I'm not going to eat it because it's unnatural. But this one is not. I'm going to eat it because it's natural." But in the end of the day, right now, have you ever seen someone looking and being like, "Oh, this one has this tomato has been exposed to too many insecticides. I'm not going to eat it," or something like that? No one talks about stuff like that. And I believe that at a certain point, it will have the GMO issue will probably be close to it. But right now, it's just too hard to tell, because these questions appear most naturally in someone's mind. But how can you answer it if they don't, like, if you don't eat a certain GMO? What's natural to you in the end of the day?
Okay.
Is it something that's grown in the farm or in your backyard? It differs from one to another.
Okay, so I mean, I mentioned carrot earlier when I was talking, and then I did a bit of research, a bit of reading, and then I learned that I think we also spoke about this when we first met some months ago.
There is a chance?
Yeah, that you spoke about that carrots used to be like purple, they used to be like different color, like tiny and looking malnourished. And I did Google it, and I found pictures. I found pictures of the old carrot, and they were like so tiny and purple, like looking like
fringy.
They were fringy. Yeah. So what happened? Like it was like crossbreeding, I believe, that happened with carrots.
It was selection.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was a long process of selecting the ones that give the best yield in terms of like harvested like produce. And nowadays, if you give like a natural, let's say someone defines natural as something that was intact from like human selection, like
before the crossbreeding.
Yeah, before everything, people will tell you that, oh, the one you show them, like as they looked initially, they will be like, oh, this is awful. It looks so bad. It's probably like genetically modified. But this looks so healthy. This looks so good. It's probably like grown.
The natural one.
Yeah, the one that you can find, the one that you can find in the nature. But that does not work like this, does it? And we all know it now. And it's a long way to go to change the general perspective on that. But now, as I said, people perceive the carrots that have been like selected for ages as something that's natural in its intact form. Yet that's not the case. And this may be the possible route for GMO.
When I did the reading, it took years to reach to the place that carrots are now. Even bananas as well. Like I read that bananas will used to have like seeds and they were not sweet.
So on and so forth. Yes.
But because of the crossbreeding, bananas became what they are now, even without seeds, even no more seeds anymore. No more seeds in bananas.
Yes.
So
and this took ages. This took ages.
So basically, GMOs speed up this process.
That's exactly what I was talking about. If before, for example, you have two bananas and two plants, and one of them gets this random mutation of not having seeds anymore, okay, you can see it, but how can you guarantee that it will, like every plant in the offspring of like this cross will have the same trait? It's hard to guarantee it, and like this why this selection takes a long time. So science is actually helping and speeding it up. As simple as that.
So I'm guessing AI has a huge part to play in this as well.
That's an emerging field, as it is in every single area of our daily life right now. There are obviously ways to use AI in biology, tons of them. For example, there are certain models for protein folding which depend on AI, and you can adjust any statistical model to like work for your favor. And there is also tons of research which happens in this part. But right now, from my point of view, I do not have like a specific example of how AI has directly created like a GMO plant or was like, I don't know, used in it as a huge part. Of course, when it comes to routine work like data analysis, like there are lots of apps which can help you do that based on like certain mathematical models. But I wouldn't say AI is something that like current plant agrobiotechnologists rely on a lot.
Maybe it could be in terms of quantum mechanics, which is able to do multiple calculations.
That's what I'm talking about. The data analysis, mathematical part, of course, is going to help.
Yeah, okay.
But it's the way how it helps in every other field right now. So there is no specific difference. Like I right now, I cannot think of any specific application of AI. Yeah.
Like I spoke earlier about controversies, about conspiracy theories, right? So what is the one that you've heard of and then you're like, you just roll your eyes, oh my God?
Well, I'm actually mostly exposed to people in like biology these days. My friends are biologists. I'm studying biology, so I don't get that much of daily contact with someone who would be very far from it. It's just the way how it happens. But from time to time, I meet up with people and I hear like, oh, but GMOs are going to kill you.
I know of one. I read about one. There's one about GMOs are going to extinct bees. So why is that conversation that GMOs are going to extinct bees? That because of GMOs, bees will stop surviving, bees will go into extinction?
Well, I don't want to call this like a complete nonsense, because there are cases where a foreign species gets like an invasive species gets introduced to a natural ecosystem, and then it kind of, because it's highly competitive for the resources, it makes other types of plants disappear. Like maybe the the natural diversity can be affected by invasive species, but these are not stories about GMO. These are simply stories about people bringing, I don't know, a plant from a different continent, an insect from a different continent, like a virus even from a different continent, which affects the natural environment of a different ecosystem. So when they are saying that GMOs will extinct these, I feel like they're relying on these stories and they're treating every GMO as an invasive plant. But introducing a GMO, like genetically modified plant into an ecosystem, right now that's not the case because most of the all of the growth of GM plants is highly controlled. But I believe that they might think that this will have the same effect. But that does not mean it, that every plant that you introduce which will have certain genetic modifications will have the same effect as highly competitive plants. Like maybe you have just edited the resistance to drought. Of course, in the case of drought, then your plants will have higher chance of surviving, and thus they will be using all of the resources, and they will be better. They will be more fit to this environment, and throughout time they will take this area. But no one is talking about introducing them into the wildlife. I guess what people are scared of is like that somehow the genes will flow into the wildlife, but I don't see it as a possibility now. It doesn't come as a complete nonsense. It just comes as a prediction that a person would make without understanding how it actually works, and it's completely normal because not every single person is an expert in the scene. And if you don't have this knowledge, it's more like it's obviously natural to think in such a way.
Okay.
Yeah, the reason why I'm so enthusiastic about it and working with it is because it actually won't do that. And if you learn a bit about it, you're like, oh, it's not this. It has a lot of possible solutions. It offers a lot of solutions for problems that are existing in the world right now. And it's not going to kill bees.
Okay.
Like, I don't want to say that people are ignorant and they're not intelligent enough.
You're saying that?
No. I'm saying that the people who think this way are not ignorant and not intelligent. They are just those who have not been exposed to a certain amount of information. And it's okay. That's why we have all of these TED Talks. That's why we have all of these internet resources. Of course, there is a lot of controversy in the media as well. Like, if you have this personal opinion on GM plants and you're like, oh, they're going to kill me, and you write this whole article, and then this person gets exposed to it.
Start reading it, yeah.
He will have a tendency to think this way. But I believe that it's normal. It's how it is with every single invention. And people have been saying that 4G might kill them.
Yeah, 5G. They said 5G is going to kill people.
You. 4G will kill you. You have to wear the metal foil on your head. You have been through that already.
Yeah.
And it's just the natural way of how it goes. It's completely normal.
Okay. So if plants or farm produce were to have labels indicating what was changed on them, what would it read like?
So, as we have already discussed the BT gene, the BT toxin, I would like to take this as an example in order not to not to give overcomplicated examples. Yeah. So the BT toxin is actually a toxin which comes from the bacteria Bacillus thuringiensis, which has this gene naturally. It kills the insects that if this toxin enters the intestines of certain species of insects, they're going to die. So what they did was they took the gene which synthesizes these toxins, and the genes are CRY. This is the name of the gene actually. And you introduce them to plants. So the plants naturally synthesize these toxins. And when an insect eats a leaf, for example, a larva of a certain insect eats the leaf, it's going to die because your leaf contains these toxins.
So that way the insects will stay away from the plants.
They will probably not stay away, but they will die as soon as they try.
Okay.
So I would say that for a general consumer, what would be nice to know is that this bag of chips was made out of a potato which had BT toxins in it, which does sound scary.
Yeah, it does sound scary.
And that's why I think it should have obviously a link to like deeper information on how it works, why did we introduce this, but just to say the part about like the Bt toxins, these chemicals are only toxic to insects. The reason for that is in the pH of the guts. So the pH of the insect intestines is different from the pH of our like stomach or our intestines, and it's not going to have the same effect. This toxin, like you know how work of every protein or every enzyme is affected by pH levels, by temperature, and so on and so forth. It's just it can't have the same effect in our guts. And writing that this plant had Bt toxins in it would make it sound scary to the general consumer. So I would say it would make much more sense to say that this plant was insect resistance, in the brackets, Bt. Like genes from the Bacillus thuringiensis. And then obviously give like this information. Because, but that's completely out of my field right now, I would say, because I'm not working in the like front end, let's say front end of like agrobiotechnology. But that's on the people who do PRs. Like they should be the ones thinking of how to sell something to people. The only thing that scientists actually care about is making an improvement. And then how it should be labeled is a completely other question. Like I believe that if, for example, the bans are going to be taken away in like Turkey or Russia, making appealing tags is going to be the least of the problems.
Okay.
Like I don't know how to explain this. Like right now, the biggest issue is that we are not allowed to do the research. We are not allowed to grow,
and we are not accepted. Yeah.
Yes, but as soon as like this problem is out of the way, I don't think making an appealing tag is that bad.
It's gonna be okay. So
people have been selling. I don't know how to say. People have been selling food which is like harmful to your body, but it's tasty and it's appealing, and you are still eating it.
Okay, yeah.
And then in the end of the day, you're worrying about like where did your bag of chips came from? I feel like if you're eating chips at this point, like you're already eating something completely fried in the oil. Like it's not gonna make any difference at this point.
Okay. One other controversy theory that I remember, I know we spoke about that earlier, is that, I mean, people believe that if you eat a genetically modified crop, that some genes have been introduced into it.
Let's say for the Bt toxins.
Yeah, for the Bt toxins, for example, and it goes into your body, it can modify your gene as well.
If it worked this way, we wouldn't be living this life. Let me just say that. The amount of trial and errors and times we have to try to introduce a gene just from a different strand of a certain plant, like we have the same species, two different strands.
Yeah.
It's still not the easiest thing to do. Like it has to be done very precisely, and it's a very it's an exquisite work in the end of the day, gene editing, in order to completely transfer the gene so it works in the same way. If it was that easy, we would have like the genes from anything we eat would have been in us already. Like, but you still don't see me synthesizing any leaves on me. Like, it's just not as easy as they want it to be. Of course, it's like very like a primitive thought to say like, oh, you're going to eat a genetically modified plant, so you're going to be genetically modified as well. But that's just not the case.
Yeah.
Like, evolution made our DNA molecules quite resistant to being modified by something so small. And it's actually like, in terms of like when it's inside of you, the DNA molecule, like it's not easily modified, but it's still a fragile molecule.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to break it. And I cannot imagine a way how a DNA molecule comes from all this way and somehow inserts it into your DNA. It's just not possible from like, even from a common sense, like from the point of view of a common sense.
So, we've spoken about GMOs for quite some time now and the benefits. So, what would you say is the most benefit of GMOs to humanity?
Well,
is it price wise? Is it nutrition wise? Or is it shelf life?
As we have mentioned already, the best effect that it has, like the reason why people study like genetic engineering in plants especially, is because it saves us a lot of time and gives us a faster solution to certain problems such as world hunger. But if we're talking about the like GMOs that you can find on the shelf, because I feel like that's what you're asking about for the consumers, like what is it?
Yeah, for example, if for example guava or bananas or something, some fruits were to be genetically modified, right? What benefit is that to humans? Is it price-wise? Is it going to reduce the price? Is it going to give it more shelf life? Is it going to give it more nutrition?
Well, I'm just gonna say that right now, I feel like people are less bothered about making it cheaper, because with the amount of research that goes into it, it's a bit impossible. Shelf life is one way to look at it. There are a lot of GM plants which were made to have improved shelf life, improved like time they can spend without browning or wilting and so on and so forth. But right now, for example, again, as I mentioned, the world hunger issue, it's all about nutrition. And of course, it would be good to have plants which have higher nutritional value in terms of this or that. But it's important to remember that the plants that you will have on your shelves won't be like like a pill which will heal your body immediately, and it's not going to be a pill which will kill you immediately. It's just going to be an alternative. In the past 20 years, there was not a single registered case of GMOs causing direct harm to the person who has consumed it. Again, because we have all of these trials, and it's as harmful or as helpful in terms of like general health of like a person as its normal, not genetically modified alternative.
Okay.
If it has higher nutritional value, of course, indirectly, it's going to be a bit healthier to you if you're suffering from this or that. Like if you have certain avitaminosis, like you're lacking certain vitamins, something which will have a higher nutritional value in terms of this or that will help you indirectly, but it's not that it's going to heal you. Like it's as harmful, as helpful as a normal plant. And then indirectly it can have, of course, beneficial effects.
Okay. So have you seen any fruits today or crop today that you think would require some genetic modification in the future?
Well, of course, and there are like, it's an ongoing area of research. People are trying to genetically modify almost everything. Like, they're trying to genetically modify at the frontiers. It's obviously the crops that are consumed the most, like maize, soybean, rice, wheat, all of them, because they make the basis of our nutrition.
Okay.
And the way how people are working on them is like to either have a higher nutritional value or to reduce the loss in the produce yield. And these are the ones which have been improved the most, I would say, because they're the most important ones. But then you can think of almost everything you want. Like there are also like works, but they're done mostly by like breeding, by the like classical selection and breeding of like interspecies, for example, like most of the citrus plants, they give you new taste, they give you new flavors, but they're actually like some plants are just like two different species you're eating. Like the oranges have been done in such a way, and not by people who are sitting in the lab and editing the genes, but by time and like
over time, crossbreeding.
Yes, like it's, you can modify whatever you want theoretically, but practically, why would you do that? That's the question. So like in order to start the research on a like genetic modification of a certain plant, you have to have like a very clear outlining, like why would you do that? For example, if this plant grows in this environment and because of like a certain condition it loses like 50% of its yield, but it's actually very vital for the people living in the area there, then you have to work to make it resistant to this specific environmental condition.
Okay.
And I would say that right now, most of the like research power should be directed towards this, towards solving the problems that are existing rather than satisfying the consumer needs for a brighter apple. But that's my personal opinion on it.
So in a way, genetically modified crops or plants regional based, depending on the climate that crop is being grown.
Of course, if you're making a plant which is resistant to like a certain, maybe to drought, why would you introduce it to the area which doesn't have drought problems but it has insect problems, for example?
So
it makes no sense.
So a particular plant can be genetically modified in different ways based on different regions.
Of course.
Okay, let's move a bit away from GMOs.
Okay.
Right? So you said you also play volleyball.
Yeah, I did not say that right now, but you know that I also play.
I know that you play volleyball.
Yes, I'm in the team, in the university team.
You play for the Sabanci University
volleyball team. Volleyball team. Yes.
Are you really good at that?
Well,
just as good as you are about your GMO knowledge.
I wouldn't say I'm good in any of them, okay. But I would say I'm passionate about both of these fields, and I'm trying to improve myself.
Okay.
So, as long as I can help the team win, I consider it good.
So, what habit do you have, or what skill do you have, and the volleyball aspect that helps you in the lab? And what lab skill do you have that helps you when you're playing volleyball?
Oh, that's such an interesting question, because I have been playing volleyball since I was like 9 or 10.
Okay.
But I am in the lab for like 5 years now, maybe.
Okay.
So it's definitely like different time periods, and like the amount of skills I have like accumulated in volleyball differs from the amount of skills I have in the lab.
Yeah.
I'm still a rookie in the lab. I'm going to be honest. In the volleyball, I'm going to be honest. I'm not a rookie. I'm not the best, but I'm not a rookie there.
Okay.
If we're talking about habits or traits or skills, well, the most valuable one from volleyball is definitely teamwork. I mean, it can be said to any other sport, but I feel like in a team which has only 6 players on the field at the time of playing, it's really important to sense the mood of the team, because how you react to the lost point is actually the fact that determines whether you will win the next one or not. Okay. There are teams who are extremely efficient in terms of like technical skills, yet as soon as the mood gets down, they will be losing. No matter how good they are, no matter how sharp their serves are, how like accurate their passes are, like they will lose. So I would say what skill helps me the most is adjusting your behavior based on the environmental conditions you have around you. Because sometimes when the point is lost, of course, your first intuition would be to be mad at someone who did a mistake. But you have to think twice about it, like whether being mad at them right now is going to help you in the next point. Because like, what is it worth if you let your emotions out right now, break the mood in the team, and then lose the next point while you can keep it down, control yourself, work for the team, and win. And I would say that maybe that skill is something that also works in the lab, because the amount of losses and trials and attempts that people have to face in the lab are exactly the same. Like you try different conditions for an experiment, you try different reagent, and it's still not working. So if you're working alone, it's dependent on you. But if you're working in a team, are you going to scream at everyone in the team and then the lab breaks down because no one wants to work with you anymore?
Yeah.
Or are you trying to fix the reason why is it working and not taking it out on the people and like keeping the mood and the environment productive? I would say that might be something. And then when it comes to transferring skills from the lab to the volleyball field, I don't really think if I have any. I would not say there is something that I can take from the lab to the volleyball field. I mean, obviously being like accurate.
Maybe being, meticulous and very detailed.
I would say I'm not a very meticulous volleyball player, so that does not really help me.
Okay.
No, I would not say there is something like that.
Okay. Have there been any stereotypes that you've encountered while living in Turkey as a Russian?
Obviously. I would not say this is the topic of our podcast, of our talk today, but obviously I have encountered a lot of stereotypes towards me. But if the person in front of you is sensible, you're probably not going to be exposed to them anyhow. If you're talking to a person who sees people for people and not for the nationality they are, this question does not come up. And thankfully, I have been able to find my people here. And obviously we make jokes about Russians being cold or about Turkish people being very emotional. And the stereotypes in my circle, I would say the stereotypes are the fuel for the jokes, not the fuel for
decent or to feel.
Yes. So that's how it is for me right now.
Okay. We also discussed, and you said that you were eco volunteer, like you volunteer, or you used to be.
Yeah, I used to be very active when I was in high school. Now I don't have that much time, but a certain amount of habits I have picked up from there. I try to have a reusable cup. I always have a reusable cup on campus, and I would say I see a lot of people who drink from reusable bottles rather than plastic bottles. And I think that's a very huge step in terms of mentality towards being more responsible in your consumption.
So yeah, I was even going to ask, so what is an eco-volunteer?
Oh, eco-volunteer involves like a lot. It can vary from, I don't know, like helping endangered species, because that's something that relates to ecology as well, down to sorting your trash. Recycling, sorting out your trash. It's a majority of stuff. I was mostly involved in the trash recycling initiatives. I was a member of the eco-volunteering club in high school. But I would say one thing for me, which I'm passionate about in terms of like being eco-oriented, is actually reasonable consumption. Because a lot of our problems right now come not from the fact that we are lacking resources, but from the fact that we are using them inefficiently. And it's also like one of the reasons why I'm again passionate about GM plants, because we have to use the resources much more logical. We have to use the same amount of land, but give higher yield. And that requires some work. But what if we are more reasonable about how we use like the yield we get from this land? Because if we are more reasonable about that, we won't need extreme measures in order to like amplify the yield from the same amount of land.
I mean, it ties back to your philosophy about the friends you have in Turkey. You said something earlier that it's about quality, not about quantity.
Yes. That again, people should be like reasonable in terms of how they consume stuff. Like it's just, I would say it's a way of life. I perceive it as a way of life, being reasonable in terms of what you eat, how you eat it, what you use, how do you use it. Are you getting takeouts every day and eating with the plastic fork that you get in the takeout, or do you have a fork at home? Because you have a fork at home. Why would you need the plastic one? And it's also, I'm not saying that people should stop eating takeouts. Like, that's completely normal. This is where our progress have taken us right now, and it's perfect. Like, it saves a lot of time, if I'm being honest. But if you're ordering a takeout, why don't you leave a note that you don't need the fork then? Because they're going to give you a plastic fork, and you will probably use it, and it's going to go to trash. Is this excess plastic consumption needed here, actually? Or is it something that can be reduced without you feeling uncomfortable? And for me, the answer is the second option. When I'm also a student and I also eat takeouts, and when I'm on campus and I'm getting food from a cafe, I usually tell them not to put the forks in it, because I don't need it. I don't need the napkins they're going to put. I don't need the forks they're going to put. I have all that in my room. I also consume paper napkins. I also sometimes drink coffee out of plastic cups. But if I can change that without experiencing any discomfort, why won't I try?
Okay. So if you were to have 100 volunteers for a day in Istanbul, what cause would you pursue?
Wow. I would say the biggest issue in Istanbul is actually trash.
Trash.
Yeah, trash is a huge problem in Istanbul. So I would say cleanup is the most reasonable answer with 100 people.
100 people.
Yeah, of course, I'm again passionate about it. I'm passionate about sharing my position on the topic. So I'd probably give like a short talk to them on this one. But yeah, trash cleanup would be
any particular area in Istanbul?
Beaches.
Oh,
beaches.
You think the beaches are not clean enough?
Yes, I don't think the beach, like, they can be cleaner, of course, but also, again, it's a mindset. Like, this glass bottle, do you really need to leave it here, or can you bring it like to the closest trash can, which should be obviously like the class specified trash can, to ease up the trash recycling process later? But like, is it that hard for you? Is it that hard to put the cigarette butt
In
to
the
the trash instead of just leaving it there.
I'm gonna ask for a sentence, right? And you're just gonna fill in the blanks,
Okay.
right? And it's about GMOs.
Okay,
Okay.
let's go.
Okay, so the sentence is GMO is good when blank, risky when blank, and unacceptable when blank.
Okay. So you said GMO is good when
GMO is good when
Mhm.
blank.
Obviously GMO is good when it helps the humanity.
Mhm.
And
Risky when
yeah, risky when general public is a little uneducated about it, I would say, because for example there can be a case where like researchers do this whole work and they have like this plant which can have like higher nutrition yield, and there was actually a case like that with golden rice where like they introduced a plant and the general public was like, no, we're not gonna eat that, even though it would help with the malnutrition problem. And it's risky when people are only educated from the side of what cons it has rather than having pros. It can be risky when it's like that.
okay, and unacceptable when
The necessary amount of trials have not been done. It's unacceptable in any type of scientific work. So it's fully dependent on the trials you're making, any type of research work. Like if you want to give something to people, you have to test it before.
Okay, so at this point, I'm gonna ask you just a little thing. I'm just gonna introduce. I'm gonna be like, you're gonna say 2 truths about yourself, and then 1 lie,
Oh.
and then maybe I'm gonna try to guess, or I'm gonna let the viewers guess that. All right. So 2 truths, and then a lie.
Whenever someone asks me that question, I feel like I'm a very boring person. Because I feel like nothing that has happened to me actually could seem like a lie to someone.
Okay.
I'm very blank in that sense. Like
I think that comes from being a Russian, I guess.
yeah, I would say 2 truths about myself and 1 lie. I speak 4 languages.
Okay.
That's so hard. That's incredibly hard for me. The most basic question, you can ask me whatever you want on GMOs, but when it comes to this game, I'm out. I also hate playing it with my friends because, like,
Okay.
why would I lie?
Hey.
Okay. I speak 4 languages is something that I said. This is awful. This is awful. My brain literally shut down right now. I cannot come up with an interesting truth.
Or maybe an interesting lie.
Or maybe an interesting lie. Oh, let's do it like this. I speak 4 languages. Half of my family is Muslim. And I have scored the highest grade on my high school graduation exams. The highest possible
In the
score.
whole school?
No, just like the highest score you can score out of like a certain amount of points.
Okay, so you speak 4 languages. 1. Second one, half of your family is Muslim.
Yeah.
Third, you scored the highest possible grade in your exams in high school.
Yes.
Interesting. I think I know the lie, but I'm not sure.
You can say.
I'm thinking the lie is I could be wrong here because I think you're smart. So I'm thinking the last one could be true. The first one, you speak 4 languages. I think it's true because you've spoken and you love learning languages.
I have mentioned that yes to you.
So I'm thinking the middle one, that half of your family are Muslims, could be the lie. So in this section, usually I ask the guests to ask a question for the next guest, right? You also get to answer a question from the previous guest.
Okay.
Okay, so the question for the previous guest that asked, he actually didn't ask a question. The question that he was supposed to answer, he answered it and said the next guest should answer that question as well.
Okay.
So the question was, what makes you you, right?
Oh, that's so deep.
When things are going good and when things are going bad.
That's so deep. When things are going good, I would say jokes make me me. Like, I'm a joker. If things are going well, I'm going to be the silliest person you can ever find.
Okay.
When things are going bad, I would say that I don't have this trait. Some people are able to stay positive even in the worst conditions, but when things are going bad, I would say what makes me me is keeping it tight. Like, I can hold it. When things are going bad, I have this certain amount of buffering zone which I can withstand, and I would say it's like quite huge.
So you have resistance.
I'm quite resistant to some levels of like bad issues in my life. Like, obviously it's because I have a lot of support from my family and friends, which does affect me a lot. But from personal point of view, I also like, I know I can fix that. So I have this like trait of.
So is it like you were genetically modified with some anti-resistance to bad?
Well, that's probably not what happened at all.
Resistance.
I would say I train myself to be like that.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So, question for the next guest.
Question for the next guest is gonna be, if you could name one person who had the highest influence on society, who would you name?